Well, welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here. This is our Conifer Area Council sponsored town hall meeting, April 17th, 2024. I did that because this will be recorded and other people will be able to watch this probably in the next couple days. So I'd like to give a special shout out and special thanks to Core Electric Cooperative and to Christy and Tiffany from Remax Alliance for their community support of tonight's meeting. So thank you, all of you. And then I'd also like to thank Conifer Jazzercise. Conifer Jazzercise, they provide water. And just so you know, we do have water, coffee, and cookies. Oh shoot, what's the name of the place? Wicked Whisk. I couldn't remember that. The cookies are from Wicked Whisk in Conifer. So if you like them, you have to go back. Okay. Again, a link will be available probably tomorrow, so you can watch this again if you miss any part of it. Our speakers tonight have been asked to present just the facts. They cannot be in support or in opposition to any development or ballot issue, and there will be no campaigning. Most of you have been here several times, but I can see some new faces. So during the presentations, we will have no comments and no questions. That way the presenters can get a lot of information out to you. And then hopefully you've already talked to a lot of the presenters, and you can talk to them after the meeting is over at 8 o'clock. So we hope that that'll work for you. So we are finally, I think, blazing into summer. And we want to ensure that we all have a good time, have a lot of fun, while also being wildfire ready at all times. We're going to talk just a few minutes about what's going on around here. We've got just a few updates, and then we're going to be talking, we have some trails and recreation news, and then we have a lot of information about wildfire and insurance. So first of all, I would like to ask Beth Schneider. She is the Conifer Area Chamber Commerce Director. Beth.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to start by thanking the Conifer Area Council for putting this together for us. It's just so valuable to our community to have this opportunity to stay informed, and I just appreciate everything that you do. So everyone in here who is part of the Conifer Area Council, just would like to extend our thanks to you. And then now I have a few updates about what's going on with the Conifer Chamber of Commerce. And tomorrow night, we have our annual awards celebration at the Woodlands. And we take this opportunity to honor our businesses, nonprofits, and community members that give back. One of our nominees is the Conifer Area Council, so fingers crossed that we'll be announcing their name tomorrow night. We also have some highway cleanup dates that are coming. And these happen 4 times this summer: May 18th, June 22nd, August 10th, and September 21st. And all you have to do if you'd like to help clean up along 285 is show up at 8 a.m. at the Aspen Park RTD Park and Ride, and we head out from there and clean up. And this is put on by the Conifer Area Chamber of Commerce as well as Keller Williams. And so it's a great way to give back to the community. And of course, we have Elevation Celebration coming up on July 27th and 28th. So mark your calendar for that, and feel free to reach out to me if I can help you in any way or get you connected with any of these events. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, next we have Kat Lefevre, who is she actually works with both the Evergreen and the Conifer libraries. She has a little bit of an update, and then we have an update from one of our board members and also a library board member. Library board member. Okay, Kat.
Thank you so much. So I am Kat Lefevre. I'm the manager of both Mountain Libraries, the Evergreen and Conifer, and I have a very quick update. Let's see if I can race through this. So quick update, our current status. I know a lot of you were hoping I would come tonight and say we found a location. Can't talk about it yet. So I can neither confirm nor deny at this point. But I want to show you some resources that you can check to kind of keep an eye on things. We do have a board meeting tomorrow night, so I won't be at the chamber thing tomorrow night, unfortunately. But these are kind of where we're going with all of this. So where you can find more information is to go to our website, and these two links right here. We have a Board of Trustees link and a Building Projects link. Either one of those will kind of take you through some information. This is our project one, so that first time on the left, which means that we're, kind of in the, we're getting a lot of priority on that, which is awesome. So if you click on that, you can go to this page. This will give you some information, and then that purple square that's down there in the bottom right, I'm dyslexic, that'll give you to our board information. So there's a lot of different ways you can access this information, but you can look at the board notes. And I do have a copy of our board packet printed out over at my table there. And I also have this 144-page document that goes through a lot of the information that we brought in from the community. We had a lot of community engagement sessions. So obviously I can print one of these out for everybody, but you are more than welcome to come and look at it and to see kind of where the information came from that we're using to make this decisions for this project. So this is again from the board packet. This kind of shows the drilling down that we've done to find a property. Again, we can't announce anything, but we are getting closer. Other than that, I do want to point out some upcoming programs that we do have at the Conifer Library. We are open. You can be there when the school is not in session, but we are still having some really fun programs. So that's it. Please come talk to me over at the table over here. I have lots of really fun swag, and I also have my business card. So, looking forward to talking to you afterwards.
Thank you, Kat. And now we have Marilyn Salzman, who is a Conifer Area Council board member, and also Stan Harsha, who is the library board member, and they will be giving you a little bit of an update too. Marilyn.
Thanks, Shirley. So we are jumping up and down. We are so excited. We've been working for years to get a freestanding library in Conifer, and it looks like it might happen as early as the first quarter in 2025. So that's very exciting. So thank you all for participating in our surveys and our petitions and in the community engagement. We really appreciate the community support. And I really want to shout out to former CAC board member Punky Kiefer, where are you, Punky, who has been working on this for decades, should we say? So thank you, Punky, for all your work. The other exciting news is we believe for the first time ever, we have a library trustee who lives in Conifer, Mr. Stan Harsha.
Okay. So I'm the board of trustees for Jeffco Libraries. I joined this year. I attended the Conifer Area Council arranged meetings to get feedback and input on the new library, and I was just amazed and thrilled when they were going to budget and build and put in a library, standalone library, apart from the high school. And so my compliments to this community and to Conifer Area Council, to Punky and to Marilyn, and for all that they did. And so these are my good friends. I'm talking to them all the time about the library. I'm listening to the community. I'll be at this table also. So I don't have any information either. I don't know where it's going to be or any details, but I am listening, and anything that I hear from the community, I do bring back and share with the library executives and with the Board of Trustees. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marilyn and Stan. Next, we're going to have just a very brief update about childcare, which was a big, huge thing on our last survey. People are very concerned about having childcare up here. So Kurt Keisler, who is our CAC board member, will give you a little bit of an update.
I have 1 minute. Angela, put your signs away. So I was here in September and I briefed the results of our survey. This survey is developed and distributed by the Conifer Area Council every 4 years. In 2022, we got the results. And as the new guy, I asked Shirley, hey, when are we going to brief those results? And she says, Tag, you're it. You can brief those results. And then she says, well, what did you find out from those results? And I said, well, the big thing that I found out was that childcare is a problem up here. Only 5% of the people that took the survey said that they could find adequate childcare. And she says, so what are you going to do about it? So now I'm leading a group to go and try to find out more information and help us get some childcare up here. I am working with a number of agencies in Jeffco. I've talked to the Mountain Resource Center up here, who are bringing on, by the way, a preschool in August. I don't know if you knew that, but they're going to bring a brand new preschool in August. But I am in search of information and feedback from parents, grandparents, anyone that cares for a child. We are going to develop a survey. The we part of this is I'm working with the Girl Scouts of Colorado. Let me see, the Cadet Troop 66577. They're going to be out and helping us distribute information for people to take a survey and help us get information. So I'm always looking for ideas, information, suggestions, your thoughts. I'll be around here. If you have any interest in helping with childcare, come and see me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. I think that was less than a minute, right? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so now it's time to talk a little bit about all the fun we're going to be having this summer, because we have an awful lot of wonderful places to go, to hike, and to just do some wonderful things. So Elizabeth Stoner with Jefferson County Open Space is going to be talking about some projects we've been working with her on. Elizabeth.
Thank you so much. Okay, awesome. Hi everybody. My name is Elizabeth Stoner, and I'm just going to be talking to you about some Conifer area park, some parks. So we have both Beaver Ranch Park that I'm going to be talking about, as well as Meyer Ranch Park. Quick overview, I just mentioned this, but we will be talking about Beaver Ranch Park. I'm going to be going over a trailhead improvement project that we've been developing, that we're in the early stages of developing, I should say. And then a schedule for the improvements. Closer? Okay, thank you. And then I will also go on to talk about Meyer Ranch Park. We have a status update about a trailhead improvement project we've been working on at that park, and then a regional trail construction project. Okay, so to kick things off with Beaver Ranch Park, so this graphic just shows the proposed improvements diagram for the trailhead improvement project. I'm just going to take a second to walk through the major elements that have been identified on this concept, and hopefully this thing works. Okay. Wow, that's magic, I can't figure that out. Okay, so I'll just talk through them. So on the right-hand corner, we have a legend that describes each of these design elements. I just want to note that these are not the only design elements that'll be at the park. These are just the most notable ones that I wanted to point out to you tonight. So first off, we have the park closure gate that'll be right at the top of the access road. And so what this does is really help us to close the park in case of emergencies and have that control right at the beginning of the park experience. Moving on, we're going to be paving the road. Why is that going? You're doing it for me, thank you, that's awesome. Okay, so, awesome. So number 2 just highlights that the fact that we will be paving the road. So hopefully in terms of those large ruts, all the drainage issues we have, hopefully this will really help to alleviate those problems that we see currently. Number 3 is illuminating the fact that we will have a parking lot with a restroom, and we're looking at plus or minus 100 parking spaces at this parking lot. Its current location, just to orient you, is that multi-purpose field that is currently at Beaver Ranch Park. 4 is an off-leash dog walking corridor. 5 is a playground, which I know everybody here is very excited about. And a kind of quirky thing about this project is that that is technically a component that is driven by Beaver Ranch Community Incorporated. They are our partner when it comes to both working with vendors on the site as well as on-site management. So they are really leading the charge when it comes to securing grant money for that playground, as well as installing the playground. But all you will need to know is that when the trailhead opens, there will be a new playground there, which is very, very exciting. 6 is a track chair program and maintenance building, which is also very exciting. This is our first time offering track chair program at Jefferson County Open Space, really looking to Staunton's experience with the track chair program, and super excited to have this offering at Beaver Ranch Park. And then we have a slight rerouting of the Casto Creek Trail, that's number 7, that's that orange line. And really the idea there is that the Casto Creek Trail currently goes right under the end of the zip line, which you can guess is maybe not the safest experience for people. So really the idea behind that is to reroute, go behind the zip line, make sure everybody is zip lining safely, hiking and biking safely, all the good stuff. 8, we have the event center, which is not going away. That'll still be around. 9 is parking for the disc golf, which is there, but it will be an improvement to that space. So for that one, we're looking at plus or minus 60, really taking the footprint, improving upon the footprint, working with drainage, all that good stuff. Number 10 is a restricted access gate. So in terms of what the public will be able to access, it really is, limiting the general public to that point. Obviously, our vendors would be able to access, Zipline will have access beyond that point, but that's really the idea, is to kind of, control and consolidate our impact as visitors. 11 is our Bark Park, which we are going to be closing. And then 12 is a proposed disc golf short course location, which will be taken from its existing location and moved to that Bark Park space. The reason we're relocating is because, wow, I have 2 minutes left. Okay, I have a lot more to get through. Is because it's currently in a wetland space. So really trying to just limit the impacts there. Really quickly, I know that was so much information. The good news is we are planning on having an engagement event this summer where we can talk about all these things, and I will have more than 5 minutes to talk about them, and that'll be really great. So Shirley's gonna help me with getting the word out on that, but look for some engagement this summer. It's gonna be really exciting. Really quickly, one more thing. I do just want to talk to you about the Meyer Ranch to Flying J Trail connection. That is a long-standing goal that we have had as Jefferson County Open Space. The great news is that we're working on this more short-term section of it. Don't worry, it'll eventually stretch all the way to Flying J, but that's, there's a lot of, private property owners to work through. What we're doing here is, this is a conceptual alignment. So this summer we're going to be doing some natural resources surveys, some heritage stewardship surveys to make sure we're doing the best possible alignment. And so you will see folks out there this summer, and I will hopefully present some sort of updated schedule for this project soon. So, thank you so much. Sorry that was a lot.
That's good. Thank you, Elizabeth. There is so much going on, it's hard to get it all in 5 minutes, right? So next we have Zach Taylor, who's going to be talking about Staunton State Park and everything that's happening there and has already happened. So, Zach.
Thank you, Shirley. Good evening, everybody. I'm Zach Taylor. I'm the park manager at Staunton State Park. It's been a couple of years since I've been here, so typically I like to ask how many of you have visited the park? Yes, like to see that. I came out about 8 years ago and there was like 1 or 2 hands, so glad to see all of that. I usually don't do a presentation like this, but because I like to have you come to the park, since most of you have come. I did put together a presentation to kind of talk about who we are and what we do at the park. Right now we do have 4 full-time staff employees. Myself, 2 park rangers, and a park resource technician, basically our maintenance employee. We do hire between 12 and 15 temporary employees every year. We have about 150 or so plus volunteers that support the park. I see many of them in the room today. We also have a nonprofit group that supports us, the Friends of Staunton State Park. A little update on some of our facilities: 4,500 square foot visitor center. It's open 24/7, 365, as we can staff it. We have 25 hiking campsites, several group picnic areas, an amphitheater. We just opened an archery range last June. It does have 17 lanes, 10 yards all the way out to 60 yards, which is open to the public during those day use hours. We have 5 parking lots with 26 miles of trails, 8 hiker-only trails, and from the park you can access the Pike San Isabel National Forest with access all the way to Cub Creek and Maxwell Falls over in Evergreen. Some of the activities you can do in the park: hiking, biking, fishing, rock climbing, you name it, we try and do it. We started a toddler program this last year, and it's taken off. So on Tuesdays throughout the summer, we hold a trail tots program. And then this last summer, we were able to open up the actual homestead at Staunton cabin to the public. So on Sundays, our volunteers dress in period era clothing and offer tours through their cabin, much like Frances was within her will, wanted to demonstrate how they homesteaded and what they had to experience. So if you have a chance to come out on those Sundays, come do that. And obviously, we also have a track tour program. It was the first state park in Colorado, and I think one of the first state parks in the nation to start this program. So we're super excited to see that Jefferson County Open Space is starting one as well. And it's all supported through the Friends of Staunton State Park, so it's free to our visitors when they purchase a parks pass to come into the park. We have about 8 miles or so of trail that are disabled and those folks that have a difficulty hiking can operate on. We're always looking for volunteers. I spoke to several of you earlier. If you have an interest in doing that, it's on your own time. But typically do trips basically through June through October, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you would like to come out, take a person out for a trip, we do have a training this upcoming Saturday, as well as a training in May. But obviously you can always come and we can get you lined up with what we do and how that program works. Closer? I'm so sorry. Should I start over, Angela? So some of the things that we're working on, I know we're going to talk about wildfire. With House Bill 22-1379, we did receive $1 million specifically for Staunton to do wildfire mitigation. A lot of that came basically from water protection and watershed protection. So we're super excited about that. We've been working with Elk Creek Fire, Colorado State Forest Service. So you'll see a lot of that work happening this upcoming fall and then the fall of 25. So we basically have 2 good seasons to do a ton of fire reduction throughout the park in areas that we haven't been able to get to in the past, especially with machinery. So this money will be dedicated to getting to some of those spots that are extremely hard to access and are very dense. We're continuing to work on accessibility of the park beyond just track chairs. Currently, the Davis Ponds Recreation Area is only accessible via a hiking trail or the track chairs. We do have an ADA fishing pier, an ADA group picnic area, and a restroom over there, but it's not accessible because it's on a dirt trail. So one of the projects that I'm working on is that potential for drive-in access, probably on a timed system, and specifically for our anglers, as well as for those that might reserve that group picnic area to have that drive-in access. So we're still in the early stages of that, kind of working on some conceptual construction documents, but we're working towards what that looks like in the future to provide easier access to our fishing ponds. Just this last year, our volunteers on our angling team, they held 66 fishing clinics, and they had over 1,500 participants come out to the ponds and go fishing. So they offer up the spin casting, they do ice fishing throughout the winter, and then this next summer they're actually going to offer fly fishing clinics for folks. If you want to come out and learn, it is free. You have to have a fishing license if you're 16 years of age or older, but we provide all of the... I thought you said I had 10 minutes. Oh, very nice. Then coming up here, what we're really trying to work on, and I want you guys to be engaged in, is our park management plan. Right now we're working basically on a master plan, which is the development of the park. It's phased out, kind of the concepts of how we would develop and bring in new things to the park, but I don't have a management plan, and that's the 5, 10, 15 type year plan that involves the public in terms of how we're doing, what you would like to see at the park, what you don't want to see at the park, and how we can kind of continue to grow and move forward. So keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. We'll have more of that through our social medias and through the council, etc. And we'd like for your engagement in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zach. So, no, you cannot. Sorry. Yep.
Staunton was voted the #1 state park in Colorado.
Okay. That's good news. Okay. So next, Peter Barkman is going to be talking from CSC. Conifer Area Council has been working with open space, with transportation and engineering, and so many other groups, and we have come a long way and we still have more to do. He's going to talk a little bit about that. Peter.
Thank you, Shirley. It's a real pleasure to follow our friends and supporters, Jefferson County Open Space and Staunton. I'm going to give a little overview on what Conifer Area Council's Trail Study Action Team is up to on this, because we're working with our neighbors and friends. This came about in 2006. There was a survey that indicated that there's real strong support in the community and a need for mobility other than our vehicles. And so we formed the Trail Study Action Team back then to work with this. And in subsequent surveys, every time we do a survey and ask about trails, it comes up again that there's strong support for this. We hear you, we're working on it. And our mission is to provide safe pedestrian and bicycle mobility throughout the community and connect with our surrounding parks and neighborhoods. What are we doing now? We now are meeting monthly. And I have to give a shout out to Punky also. She was a leader for a long time. She's been busy and everything. But we stalled out a little bit and we've gotten very active lately. We're meeting monthly. If people are interested, you can leave your name up at the desk. We're keeping track of the planning process with the county on multiple levels, and also watching the planning and zoning cases, because these are opportunities. When a property gets rezoned, we can get our needs into that rezoning, so trail alignments are part of it. So we track those. We're keeping track of what Open Space is doing, and they're very helpful and eager to work with us, and I'll say a little more about that. We're also brainstorming other ideas, and we've got one we're cooking up that I'm not going to say anything about, but keep your ears open. We may have some new developments coming up. At any rate, our accomplishments in 2009, we had a master plan put together by Colorado Center for Community Development. This was a comprehensive plan of trail alignments throughout our community. And we also, with that, we had a companion streetscape plan. Unfortunately, these things kind of went on the shelf and collected dust. We never took them much further. We wish we had. We wish we'd had gotten them adopted by the county, but we didn't. But at any rate, we've used that as a basic guide. But our first real major accomplishment was the pathway along Sutton Road. This was, students going to West Jeff Middle School and elementary school would walk along the ditch, and then they'd have to run out get on the pavement to avoid wet spots. So we had this done with a fund from the County Conservation Trust Fund, and we matched it. We worked with Jefferson County Transportation and Engineering Department on this, and anybody who's been out there at the Christmas parade realizes how much we really enjoy that. And then we did the Aspen Park Meyer Parkway, the connector underneath 285. Angela, I'm not 3 minutes into it yet. I know, I have a sense of what I'm doing. But we keep working on our vision here. We've got ideas for links throughout the Conifer Activity Center, which is an area defined by the planning and zoning. The red are part of the Conifer Loop. We have all kinds of links in here. Some are approximate locations, some we're pretty sure about. We'd like to do them. We'd like to connect each of the parks. We'd like to connect the parks with our neighborhoods. And so we're working on this. This is to blow up closer in the activity center of what we're working on. But the solid red are ones that are already done. We're also engaged with the county, the Together Jeffco, which you guys really need to dial into. We're working with them on getting our ideas wrapped in there. We talked about getting our master plan adopted. And the more we talked with open space and transportation and engineering, we have a GIS database with all of our ideas. They said, send us your GIS database. They become part of our plan. So de facto, our ideas got wrapped into the county plans. We did not have to go back and reinvent the wheel with our master plan. We're also working with Denver Mountain Parks. We'd like to see how we can integrate our trail network with their properties. So we're continuously working on these things. And I welcome any ideas and participation by folks. One of the things that we know is happening is transportation and engineering is working on improvements between Shadow Mountain Road and the entrance to the high school. I won't say anything about the details on that because that's not my area, but they have incorporated our need for walkable mobility along that, especially for students at the high school. You know, the long distance tracks team will go to Flying J. This will allow them a safe way to get through there. I see the time sign now, Angela. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. We all have so much exciting news to tell that it's hard to keep within our time limits, obviously. Next, and we're going to go to a very important topic that we are kind of trying to promote tonight, and that's the wildfire mitigation. We'll be talking about wildfire and insurance. And first we have our County Commissioner, Leslie Dahlkemper, who's going to be talking a little bit about what's happening at the federal, state, and the county level. Leslie.
Thank you, Shirley. That's right. We're going to cover it all tonight, and we're going to do it in 5 minutes, right, Angela?
Yeah, let's see that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to thank the Conifer Area Council for providing this forum to talk more about what's happening to reduce wildfire risk in our community. We rank #1 in the state, Jefferson County, for potential property loss due to wildfire risk. I'm Leslie Dahlkemper. I'm one of your 3 county commissioners. I serve on the Board of County Commissioners with Tracy Kraft-Tharp and Andy Kerr. All 3 commissioners were at a news conference this morning, speaking of wildfire, with Governor Polis, as well as fire and safety state leaders. The wildfire plan for this season was presented, and one thing we know for sure is that wildfire season is now year-round. It used to be a certain number of months, but as we know, that's not the case any longer. Some of the key messages from the news conference this morning from those state leaders really focused on the fact that as a state, we've never been more ready, more capable, more efficient in our response to responding to wildfire. And I really want to take a moment to recognize our first responders who are with us tonight, who make it all happen. Colorado in the last 3 years has seen the 3 largest wildfires in the state's history, and in response, the state, working with our legislators like Representative Story, Senator Baisley, who are both here tonight, and many others, along with our fire rescue districts, local county governments, federal level, Congresswoman Pedersen, Congressman Magoo's, and many others, have made historic investments totaling more than $30 million to reduce wildfire risk in this state. So for example, those dollars will help create a statewide dispatch center that will help with a shorter response time to fires. We saw huge investments in mitigation for healthier forests. In fact, Jeffco is one of only 7 counties statewide receiving additional dollars to help with forest thinning. We lead the nation in the Good Neighbor Authority, which lets the Colorado Forest Service manage major projects across federal, state, and private lands. And the key part in this is that it also paves the way for funding more projects that reduce wildfire risk, especially for residents like you living in the wildland-urban interface. Most exciting, we got a sneak peek at the Firehawk this morning, and the Firehawk is going to be an incredible tool in fighting fires across the state, and I'm really proud to say that it's going to be housed at our own airport in Jefferson County. We're really proud of that. It should be operational in May, fingers crossed, and we also know can fly anywhere within an hour across the state to help fight those wildfires. We also heard about the wildfire outlook for the state, and indications showed normal fire potential for April through July, but we know there's nothing normal about wildfire, and that's why we're tackling it in a multi-pronged approach. Federal level, state level, I serve on the Colorado Fire Commission. We're looking at everything from
prescribed burns and how we work with our community to continue to do those safely, looking at liability issues. How do we also ensure that we're enhancing firefighter readiness? That's a big part of the work we're focusing on. And we're going to talk tomorrow during our Colorado Fire Commission meeting with electric company representatives discussing power grid resilience. I'm sure that was top of mind as we saw record-setting wind in Jefferson County. We're also looking at a county level at a number of areas that you're going to hear more about in more depth in just a moment from Heather Gutherless, who's going to talk about the incredible work regarding Together Jeffco. And your input is critical to the decisions we make about land use, how communities grow, how we factor in water availability, and extreme wildfire risk as we tackle those issues. And Heather will give a great update on where we're at with that effort. We also will hear from Jeffco Open Space on mitigation efforts as well to keep our forests healthy. And our incredible emergency management services team, as well as our Jefferson County Sheriff's Office coming together, of course, is one on these issues too. We've invested, I'll wrap up with this because I can feel Angela's energy from across the room. We've invested $10 million at the county level in updating the county's wildfire protection plan, in defining the wildland-urban interface. You'll hear more likely from Heather tonight on that, on enhancing building codes, fire ignition resistant materials, and so much more. We still have more work to do. I know there's a lot of interest in GIS mapping so we can look at where past, present, and future mitigation projects have taken place. And we still are very interested in developing a one-stop location on our website to make it easier for you to access information about mitigation, homeowners insurance, all kinds of issues that we're talking about tonight. Most importantly, I want to thank you as our community for being engaged. You, as far as I'm concerned, are the best educated in the state in terms of these issues, and working side by side with you and our wildfire ambassadors who attend our Jeffco Wildfire Commission meetings makes a huge difference in our success. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, Leslie. Okay, next we have Tony with the Jefferson County Open Space Natural Resources Division. Just going to give you a little bit of an update about what they've been doing.
Thank you very much. My name is Tony Acello. I'm the Senior Forester at Jefferson County Open Space. I do need to apologize. I'm probably going to be reading from my notes. I heard about our timekeeper tonight, and I love talking about this stuff, and I'm notorious for going over. So I do apologize for reading from my notes. First thing I wanted you all to know is that the county is not working on this problem alone. We participate in numerous collaborative groups, including the Upper South Platte Partnership, where managers and scientists from across the region get together to identify opportunities for collaboration and to target our projects in the most effective areas possible. We also work with organizations like the Colorado Forest Restoration Institute, which is part of Colorado State University, to make sure that the science we're using to develop these plans is the absolute most up-to-date possible. We actually get some of the research articles before they get published, which is really cool. Get closer. Right, there we go. Is that better? All right. These collaborations that we participate in have led to numerous successful grants for past, current, and future mitigation projects throughout the county. Just since 2020, the Jefferson County Open Space and Jefferson County have received millions of dollars in funding, which we've used to implement hundreds of acres of treatment throughout this area. These grants fund a minimum of 50% of the project costs. So every time we're able to secure one of these grants, we're able to effectively double the money that the county is putting forward to get that much more mitigation through the county. I was actually just at a meeting this afternoon with some of our partners where we're looking at bringing a $1 million grant we've secured, and we were able to steer about 2/3 of that into the Aspen Park corridor, which I think is pretty exciting for this room. While our fuels treatments will never completely eliminate the fire risk, They are the best way for land managers like us to moderate fire behavior, slow the spread, and make it easier for our first responders to attack the fire, get you out safely, and deal with the after effects. In addition to the on-the-ground treatments that we implement, one of the biggest things we can do as Jeffco Open Space is demonstrate what a healthy forest actually looks like. And I've got a really incredible picture of what our forests look like before European settlement over at the table if you want to chat about that afterwards. We do this through our projects, but we also provide a lot of resources that explain the challenges we're facing, how we got into this situation in the first place, and what we can do to address it. We spent a ton of time building our website, so if you haven't gotten a chance to see that, I highly encourage you to check out the Jeffco Open Space Forest Management website. It's got a ton of resources from us and from a lot of our partners that I mentioned earlier. I focused a ton on open space today, so I did want to mention some of the other activities at the county level that are supporting local mitigation. One of the most tangible examples of that is the County Slash program, which hopefully a lot of you have gotten a chance to participate in. That program did not exist 10 years ago. That just was not an option for our residents. And last year, the Slash program disposed of almost 9 million pounds of fuel from this county was removed from our forest. That's incredible. Yeah, they deserve the credit. That program will continue to grow and expand as it is obviously clearly needed throughout the county. I promise I didn't know this person was going to be here when I wrote this yesterday, but I did want to brag that the county has recently hired a new fire management officer, Brian Keating, who comes with an incredible background in fire management and is helping the county residents address fire danger, both through education and he's working really hard on getting implementation out there. The fact that he surprised me by showing up at this meeting, I think, speaks volume to how invested Brian is in the success of our county, and I just think that speaks strongly about the type of people our county is trying to get in place. Another position that the county's financially supported is a watershed coordinator position, which has increased collaboration not only throughout the county, but also with our neighboring counties as well. Because as we all know, these fires are not going to stop at arbitrary jurisdictional boundaries. We have to reach across these boundaries to get this work done. I am about out of time. I appreciate you all being here and listening to this, and like I said, I would love to chat with you more for hours and hours back at the table. So thank you all very much.
Great information, exciting to see what all's going on. So next we have our superwoman, Heather Gutherless. She's going to be talking about everything, I think, from Together Jeffco, regulation updates, wildfire updates, the WUI, and high interest Conifer plan developments. Heather.
Thank you, Shirley. It's always a pleasure to be here to give everyone updates on what's going on in planning and zoning. And I have to tell you, Angela, I appreciate what you do. Toastmasters taught me a lot about timing and having to stay within times, otherwise you'd get clapped out of the room. So, Conifer Area Council tonight, I am talking about 29, there are 29 cases. I'm not going to talk about all of them. That would be really long. But we don't have much of a change since February. There were 29 cases then, there are 29 cases now. There were 2 rezoning cases. There was 1 rezoning case and a site development plan that dropped off the list, and we have 2 new pre-applications. So as a reminder, pre-applications are those applications that are very preliminary, where people are just really trying to get information about, I have this idea, how do I do this, what's the county process, and what are some of the hurdles I'll come up against. So it's very preliminary. About 40 to 50% of those don't even move forward. We have 2 pre-applications. I'm going to move through them really quickly because I think they're fairly minor. One is in the Green Valley Ranch area along 285, and there's 2 existing commercial buildings there, and they want to expand one of their residential uses, and then also deal with some drainage and retaining wall issues. Then the second pre-application is an adjustment of lot lines down off of South Elk Creek Road, kind of near the Bucksnort, so very minor. And then one pre-application that does not show up on your list that will look very familiar to those of you that were here in February is off of Hilldale Drive. And this was a pre-app in February for a campground. The property now has a pre-application on it for 7 single-family residential homes and an airstrip. Then I did want to give a brief update on the case of interest, the Shadow Mountain Bike Park. It is a special use case. Just as a reminder, for rezoning and special use cases, the big times for community involvement, went the wrong way, are at the community meeting phase, during the formal application, and then there are 2 public hearings. So the Shadow Mountain Bike Park is still going through the process. We haven't seen anything new since we talked to you in February. They did receive their second referral comments. They have 180 days in order to address those comments. And I know that they have been actively working with the various referral agencies with the county and outside the county in order to address the comments that they've gotten. But mainly tonight, I want to talk about the Together Jeffco process. This has been going through the process, and I have several maps at the back of the room tonight that I would love to have all of you come by and check out. As a reminder, the Together Jeffco process is wrapping together our update to our comprehensive plan, which deals with land use. It is an update to our community wildfire protection plan, our update to our comprehensive emergency management plan's evacuation annex, update to our transportation mobility plan, and then also combining 4 different regulatory documents into one, our unified land use code. We have a deadline coming up. We have a questionnaire and some maps on our website, and those will be closing on Sunday, this coming Sunday. So go to our website, togetherjeffco.com, fill out the questionnaire, and also look at our maps. And I'm going to go through some slides about how to do that. So this is what you'll see. These are some of the things you'll see when you get to our website. You'll have to kind of scroll down a little bit. But first, you'll see Module 1 drafts are available. Those are regulation drafts that are available right now. They're actually open until Monday, the 22nd. So if you are interested in commenting, you will want to click on the link on the button below that. And I know that there have been some issues, so we do have some instructions if you have issues with this website and getting to any of these links. But that's only been associated with the regulations. Then, after that, you'll scroll down a little bit more and you'll see that our questionnaire is live. And that's where you'll want to click to fill out questions that we have about all of our plans and the regulations. And then we will use that information to revise what plans we have in place and to create drafts of plans. We also have, if you scroll down a little bit more, choices and opportunities outreach documents are available. Click on Participate Online, and you will get to this page. I know this is very small, but I wanted to kind of point out that on the right side are the documents, the static documents that we had up all throughout our open houses. We had 5 open houses at the beginning of March and April throughout the county. We had about 250 to 300 people show up, which was awesome. It was great to see that many people interested. So if you want to check out all those static documents, they're all on the right side of the screen. One of them that's pretty important to land use is the preliminary working draft of future land use categories. And that will help you figure out what the land use maps are telling you. To look at the land use maps online, you can look at them, static maps in the back tonight, but go to View and Comment on Online Maps. There. And it will take you to this page. On this page, then, there will actually be a little splash page that gives you instructions to begin with. And there are 4 different maps that you can click on. There's current zoning, existing land use recommendations, that's background information. Then There is the preliminary working drafts of future land use. And that is one that you're able to comment on. And the transportation map is one that you're able to comment on. In order to do that, there is this little button down at the bottom. It's our edit button, and I've circled it in red here. You want to click on that, click on new feature, and then place the pin anywhere on the map where you want to put that recommendation. There'll be a comment box, you'll fill that in and click create. That's like the save button. If you don't get create, we won't get your comment. It's very important. And then my last thing is a brief update on short-term rentals. We have made some progress where we signed a contract with a third-party vendor to get the address identification of all short-term rentals that are operating in the county, whether permitted or not. And so once we gather that information, we have started drafting a regulation based on past comments, but after we get that information, we'll be able to release the draft and get things out to everybody, and would be very interested in hearing your comments. So thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, so much information. Please go see Heather, the Together Jeffco information. There's a lot over there. She would love to hear from you, so please go talk to her during our open house segment. Next we have Todd Bliss and Mark Gutke with the Jeffco Sheriff's Department. They're going to be talking for just a couple minutes regarding Lookout Alert. Hopefully all of you are signed up for that, and a little bit about evacuation.
Hi everyone, I'm Todd Bliss. I'm the commander for the Mountain Precinct. This is Mark Gutke. He's our Wildlands Programs Manager. Before I hand the mic over to Mark, I just wanted to remind everyone, if you haven't already seen our campaign, it's called Be Your Own Hero. Please check that out. There's a lot of really good information on there as far as how you guys can not only help yourselves during the fire season, but also help us. And some of the highlights in there will be things like signing up for the Lookout Alert, don't wait, evacuate, know the 3 types of evacuation notices, when those would be shelter in place, pre-evacuation, and then evacuate. In, out, get out, remember the 5 Ps, which I want to get it right, so I'm going to read it. People and pets, prescriptions, papers, personal needs, and priceless items. And then get ready, get set, and go early. So if you guys are prepared to go, then you can get out in time, so you're not trying to collect things like your pets. You have pre-planned evac routes. That not only helps you guys, but it helps us, because if we're not having to go knock on your door to make sure you're there and you've already left and put a sign in your window telling us that you're gone, those are resources we can deploy elsewhere. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Mark and let him talk a little bit more on Lookout.
Good evening. Lookout Alert, there's a bunch of cards back there. Has everybody seen them? You familiar with them? Because that's the big push. This is our whole emergency contact system. The E911 Authority Board funds this, put it in place, and it goes through Jeffco and is initiated by the Sheriff's Office for unincorporated area. So this is our contact. You register, you put in all the methods of contact that you have, email, cellular, landline, carrier pigeon, whatever. You put it in and the system will notify. But this is what we rely on to get the word out to you of one of the 3 stages of evacuation: shelter in place, alert, or pack up and get. And please don't wait for pack up and go. Be ahead of it. Know your neighborhood. If you got 2 ways out, know it. And practice it. Get your collection points with kids, family, whatever, way down the hill next to a body of water. Part of our problem is those that come up to take care of animals, they create lots of issues. Just something we have to deal with. But we are responsible for evacuations, and the only way we can get that done with the manpower and the time is through Lookout Alert. So we'll be here And I've got the infamous Brian Keating sitting next to me here. If he'll wave, he'll be back there. And then our boss, the undersheriff, Scott Eddy, will be happy to answer your questions. And we'll be right back there in that corner.
One last thing, I mentioned the Be Your Own Hero. What I'm holding here, I printed off a bunch of these. We can easily find them online. Just look up Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, Be Your Own Hero, you'll find it. Or go to our website, there's a drop-down tab in the services section under emergencies. There's a lot of other really great information in there. This is actually just the cliff notes for like about a 20-some page document, so please check that out.
Okay, next we have our wildland teams from the fire districts. We've got John and Bethany. Are you two going to be talking? Okay, and then our community ambassadors. So here you go.
Hello everyone, I'm Bethany Urban with Elk Creek Fire. Mine is real quick. You may or may not have heard by now that Elk Creek Fire is working on a strategic plan. We would like your input on that strategic plan. There are two ways you can do that. One, please go to our website, Elk Creek Fire, and fill out the community survey. Please note that survey is only open to residents living in the Elk Creek District. Two, you can come to our in-person community forum this Tuesday, April 30th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Elk Creek Station 1, and that's a place you can share your thoughts in person. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Good evening all. Tonight the theme is wildfire, and as you may know, most of the calls that we run on are EMS, but our highest hazard is fire. And so on our website, on Elk Creek's website, and soon on North Fork's website as well, click on the Wildland tab and it'll take you to the Wildland page, which is identical across all three districts via the Conifer Wildland Division. And you can find a lot more information about what we're going to talk about because we have limited time here tonight. So first off, I want to mention our chipping program. We had a huge success in our signups this year again. Over 300 signups in the first 30 minutes, so Taylor Swift can just take her stuff somewhere else. And that program is full for the season. We would really love to service everybody in the community, but we are limited on capacity and funding, and so that is the best we can do. The second program I'm going to talk about is our home assessment program. There's a lot of work going on, open space, national forest, state forest, private land that is large landscape scale fuels reduction and forest health management, which will change the fire behavior a little bit, but that is not necessarily going to save your house. What's going to save your house is your defensible space and your home hardening. If you would like a thorough assessment of your house, get a report and actually have a work plan to make your house more resilient, make your surrounding vegetation more resilient to wildfire, please check out the websites. You can sign up, you can get an assessment and have that work plan and start working towards getting your house safer. We also have some grants available for defensible space. There's a placard up on the ambassador's table back here that tells the planning units that have availability funds for grants for defensible space. Please check that out, see if you're eligible. And then lastly, I'm going to hand it over to our two co-chairs for our Community Ambassador Program. They can tell you a little bit more about it. If you are not familiar with your ambassador, get with them. And if you are considering being ambassador, get with them and they'll let you know more.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you. As Captain Mandel said, we are part of the Community Ambassador Program. We are your partners in wildfire resilience. But what does all that mean? What do we do? So to start with, we are volunteers with the Fire Protection District. And we don't fight fires, but what our role is to be a liaison between the Fire Protection District and the residents in our planning unit. You know, the idea is for us to help everybody safely coexist with wildfire. I think. Here we go. Okay, it's been a while since I've done a presentation. So what our role is to provide information to the residents in our planning unit as to how to live safely with wildfire. We're in the highest wildfire risk area in the country, in the state. So what we do is we provide information on how to become wildfire aware, prepared, and on forest health. In addition to that information, we also play a role providing and coordinating community projects. So we're people that live in the planning units that we serve. So we have a vested interest with you, with our neighbors, to help lower the wildfire risk in our area, and we connect you with information, we connect you with services from the Fire Protection District, and together we can make a difference.
Thank you, Al. So our community wildfire protection plan has identified 46 distinct neighborhoods, and our goal is to have a community ambassador supporting each of those neighborhoods. We currently have 16 vacancies. So if you live in any of these neighborhoods that are listed and you're passionate about wildfire safety and forest health, we would love to talk to you. So in order to find your ambassador or to learn more about becoming one, you can meet us over at the ambassador table this evening or email Al and me at capcoordinators@gmail.com. We look forward to connecting with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we've got Ron Kilgore, who is the director, our director for CORE, and he's just pulling up his presentation. He's going to be talking a little bit about what CORE is doing regarding wildfire and wildfire mitigation.
Thank you, Shirley. So I want to talk a little bit about what we do with wildfire mitigation, and I'm going to focus it on an excellent case study, which was a week and a half ago when we had 90-mile-an-hour winds. The winds were very similar, the weather patterns were very similar to, I think it was December 30th, 2022, the date of the Marshall Fire in Boulder. So we had a very similar wind pattern, which makes everybody nervous. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about what CORE does on red flag days. And red flag days are very windy, very dry days, like we had a week and a half ago. So you can't really talk about this without getting a little bit technical, and I want to give you just a little bit of an engineering lesson tonight. I want to tell you what a recloser is. Now, a recloser works kind of like the circuit breaker does in your house, and except it's smart enough to reclose and try again. So this is what happens when you have a momentary outage at your house. The power goes out for about a second, then it comes back on and it stays on. Believe it or not, the CORE folks aren't fast enough to get to that power outage and fix it in 1 second. That's an automatic action that the power system takes. Now, the brains behind the recloser is something called a relay. And this is basically a computer control. It's about the size of a desktop computer. Most of them live in substations. Some of them are housed directly in the recloser. But what this does is it's smart enough to know, all right, there's a problem on the power line. We're going to turn it off. But most of the problems are things like squirrels or things getting blown into the line, that kind of thing, which are temporary. So the brains of the power system turn it back on, and about 80% of the time it comes back on and everything's dandy. We have the ability, because you have a very advanced power system in the Conifer area, we have the ability with the click of a button to change the settings on all the brains of this power system and make it to where these reclosers act very fast and they don't try again. So this gives the opportunity, this prevents the opportunity from a tree getting blown into the line, it damages the line, it opens up, and then, heck, let's try it again, and recloses and starts a wildfire. So what we do on red flag days, we click a button down in Sedalia, and all the reclosers, all the brains go to dumb and say, we're not going to try again, we're going to try once and only once, and we're going to do it quick. Now, the downside behind that is that you're going to have a few more outages. There's a little bit of a myth in that last weekend, Excel chose to preemptively turn off a large portion of their customers. Just turn them off because they were afraid their system couldn't handle it. CORE has that option, but it is a last resort. It's basically what happens if there's already a wildfire. We do turn off if there is an active wildfire, but almost nothing else would cause CORE to turn the power off. Now, unfortunately, last weekend we had over 90-mile-an-hour winds, and in fact, this is the first time, to my knowledge, we've done this. We actually stopped repairing the system on Saturday night. I think that's April 6th or April 7th. Because 90-mile-an-hour winds, when the trees are flying left and right, it's not safe to be up in a bucket truck. So we stopped for about eight hours. And then when we started re-energizing things, you'd re-energize a line and another set of problems would become evident. So at the height, we had 108 linemen from CORE, and there were 6 other contractors. There were probably 300 or 400 people working in the Conifer area trying to restore your power. We did lose 67% of our customers lost power. I was one of them. So we were out for about, I think about 26 hours. 67 very large trees were removed, 21 poles were removed and replaced, 14 transformers. And this is kind of some of the damage that we saw. So the one thing that we did learn is when we have a single outage, we have an automatic outage system that says, all right, we need to replace a transformer. That takes usually about 35 minutes. And it automatically gives you an estimate of when you're going to be back in power. And usually that's pretty good. When we have that many things going on, we re-energize things and it goes south again. Unfortunately, that automated system made estimates that we didn't really, we basically let the automated system write checks that our bucket trucks couldn't cash. So what we've learned and what we're planning on doing is instead of guessing when that's going to happen in these major events, we're going to say check our website and we're going to keep that updated. So we apologize when you think it's coming back in 8 hours and it turns out to be 12 or 14 hours. We apologize for that, and we're going to do our best to do better next time. And just a real quick update, we're going to be a lot faster when our building's built. It's well underway. It's down in at Pine Junction. So if you have any questions about that or what CORE is doing for wildfire mitigation, let us know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. So you've been hearing about how bad the wildfire danger is in Conifer, Jefferson County, Colorado, all of that. And so many of us have lost our insurance. So we have Jason Lapham. He is the Deputy Commissioner for Department of Regulatory Agencies, and he's going to talk just very briefly about that.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me. So, that's me. This is just to highlight, although we've heard a lot about how this particular area is particularly exposed to wildfire risk, but what this slide is meant to show is that natural disasters are increasing in severity and frequency across the country, in fact across the globe, and you know this all too well. Before I jump to this next slide, I'm going to go a little bit off script just because of what multiple speakers have discussed regarding mitigation, home hardening, and so forth. One of the things that's top of mind for us, and we've talked to a couple of folks here over the last hour or so, or I'm sorry, the hour before the presentation started, is the lack of transparency into what that actually means when folks take mitigation steps in terms of their insurance, either the affordability in terms of premiums or actually access or availability to insurance as well. And the point I want to make is that this lack of transparency is, we share that lack of transparency because of the models that are used by insurance companies developed by third parties. And we are pushing, the commissioner is pushing very hard for more transparency, not just for us. This is for you all, in terms of translating the money and the efforts that you all make in mitigating your properties, mitigating your communities, into improving the availability and the affordability of insurance. So I just wanted to, that's not apparent in these slides, not necessarily apparent if you were to visit our website, but I just wanted to make that clear that that is something that is top of mind, and we are actively pushing for greater transparency in that regard. So one of the core pieces of our mission is consumer education, and the one piece of consumer education are not just making resources available on the website, but also holding stakeholder meetings, public forums, so we can get feedback from folks, but so we can also share information with the public. The last stakeholder meeting we had was just a few weeks ago. All of these are posted on our website. I would encourage you to visit our website. There's a lot of good information in there. The last one, as a matter of fact, we were lucky enough to have Amy Bach with United Policyholders, a consumer advocacy organization, providing tips for folks regarding the kinds of questions, the kinds of information that can help folks make informed decisions, whether it's the type of coverage that they have, the amount of coverage that they have, but also when you're in a claim situation, what sorts of questions you may want to be asking when considering to submit a claim. On top of that, these are some of the FAIR plan is something that we're actively working to implement with a target of plans being available beginning January of 2025. I have my colleague over here, Kaylani, thank you, is serving on point for the division on that implementation effort. There's a board that is responsible, but they're actively engaged with the division on developing that FAIR plan. The FAIR plan, to be sure, is not preferable. It is really an insurer of last resort when folks are confronted with the inability to secure insurance in the market otherwise. And you can see the FAIR plan, the legislation that made the FAIR plan possible is listed here. There's also a bill that we are in the process of implementing from last legislative session regarding underinsurance. One thing we learned from the Marshall Fire is that folks are generally grossly underinsured, and that is also a concern. Get the concerns that folks may have with losing their coverage and being unable to secure coverage, but another concern is making sure that you are in fact adequately covered. And then this year there's legislation from this legislative session also listed here in the event that it passes to again charge the insurance commissioner with a study of the insurance market. We have several active studies going on. And then lastly, of course, is our contact information. By all means, if you have questions, complaints, concerns, we want to hear from you. So please use the information that's here and let us know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. We are going a little bit over tonight, and I so apologize, but it's all such amazing information that we really thought that everybody needed to have. We just have two speakers left. First of all, we have Representative Tammy Story.
Thanks so much, everyone. I'm Tammy Story, and I've been told, as was just mentioned, that I need to finish before I get started, so I'm going to talk really fast backwards, and I hope you can all keep up. So I am your state representative, and we're in House District 25 right here. The boundaries are the mountains of Jefferson County, south of I-70, and then the southwest corner of Littleton, unincorporated Littleton around the Chatfield High School articulation area. So I currently serve on House Education Committee and also Agricultural, Water, and Natural Resources Committee, and I'm the Vice Chair on the Capital Development Committee, where we address the capital and construction needs for all of our state buildings across the state. Session is really ramping up right now. We have 21 days left of our 120-day session. There's quite a lot of work still on our plates to do. I had a broadband deployment bill in committee today that we passed out of committee. It is focused on the federal dollars that are coming from IIJA and about $1 billion to Colorado to build out infrastructure for high-speed internet across the state. So I'm really looking forward to that. I imagine many of you are also. In the wildfire world, I had a couple of bills this session on wildfire mitigation. One is 1024. It's Wildfire Mitigation Education and Outreach Bill. It's a program that we started a couple of years ago, and we were looking to invest a little bit more in the program to give it a little more time to see how far we could get and how much we could get done. And then also a bill on wildfire mitigation tied to home sales. That also got out of committee and is sitting in appropriations right now. And that bill provides permissive authority to 12 counties that we identified in particular, but also permissive authority across the state for counties to kind of pick up and run with a program. And I have served on the Wildfire Matters Review Committee. It's an interim committee. So when we end session on May 8th, we move into the interim session that runs from May 9th until early January next year when we start session again. And don't think for a second that we are sitting around twiddling our thumbs as legislators. We continue to work year-round and spend a lot of time getting ready for bills for the next session, meeting with the public, having our own town halls and coffees, and meeting with constituents and stakeholders and so forth. So we continue to stay busy. And just want to say that I am thrilled to work with so many great partners when we're working on wildfire mitigation issues. Many of them are here tonight, but we have all of our local fire districts up here. There's quite a few of them, which is awesome. And we also work with the local sheriff's department in Jefferson County, and there's representatives here, EMS, local government, and our commissioners, the Colorado State Fire Chiefs, the Division of Fire Prevention and Control, a state agency, and it really helps us get a lot of great work done when we have a lot of good partners to work with, so please don't forget to thank them for all of the work they do too. Thanks so much, have a great night, and I look forward to speaking with you.
Thanks, Tammy. And then we have Senator Mark Baisley, and he just has a couple minutes too, and then we'll be wrapping it up so you can talk to everybody that's here to talk to you. Mark?
Thanks, Shirley. And good evening, Conifer. Are we still awake? Yeah, okay, cool. All right. My name is Mark Baisley. I'm very honored to serve you in the state senate. I get the south half of Jefferson County and then 7 more counties. So the last time I was here, I promised that this time I would address property taxes. So let me spend my 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on that topic. If you recall, about 11 months ago, the last bill to pass in the 2023 session was Senate Bill 303, which placed Proposition HH on the ballot. And that was rejected by the voters. Thank you. And but that created the need still to address property taxation. So a special session was called by the governor, and that began at the end of November and went into early December. And out of that, 2 things that are worth mentioning in this talk. One is we lowered the property valuation, the taxable valuation of residential properties by $55,000 to try to make up for that incredible climb in property valuations, actual valuations, that was going to make our taxes so high. The other thing that we did in that is we created a task force that was to address this, to kind of take a new look at how do we do property taxes in the state of Colorado. So that task force has been meeting for the past several months. Two familiar names to you on it. Commissioner Andy Kerr is on there, and then yours truly. There's 17 members, as I recall, on the task force. Two things that are coming out of that I really appreciate. This will be I'll say three things. This will be in legislation this year. One of them is to maintain that $55,000 drop in the taxable valuation of our properties for the near time future. Second is to look at a smoothing. We're going to do some kind of a smoothing, so maybe like a 5-year average to try to keep those spikes from happening when our values of our property go shooting up. So, and then third one is to allow folks to be able to pay over time, to do like a 12-month payments instead of the batch 1 or 2 payments all at once. So those are helpful. I'm frankly disappointed that we did not cure the disease. You know, we're working on the symptoms. So one disadvantage to having an aerospace engineer on a task force like that is I don't know much about property taxes. The advantage, however, is I don't know much about property taxes, so I don't think we ought to just continue doing things the same way, but I lost that battle, but I'm going to tell you what I was proposing. I find that the value of our property has very little to do with what the need of our districts are. So if our property values go up 47%, that doesn't mean that the library needed 47% more revenue that year. Nor if our property values were to drop by 20%, that doesn't mean that our water districts needed 20% less money to live on. So what do they have to do with each other? And I think nothing. So I propose that we baseline all those budgets for all those special districts, and then along the lines of Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, they increase with inflation and with population, so that they can always have something they count on and come back to us if we have a special need like a new fire engine shout out to. I'm going to continue proposing that in another session probably, but you will see some other ballot measures come from other organizations that you'll see this November, people proposing things like caps and so on. And that's my whole story. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate Conifer coming out. You guys always show up in great numbers here to talk about the community, and I appreciate representing you in the State Senate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mark. And I just wanted to do a shout out. We've got David Clark back here, who is with Representative Brittany Pedersens. She's the U.S. representative, so he's with her office. So if you would like to know what she's up to, he has some information back there. And lastly, I would like to bring my board and Conifer Area Council board and advisors up to the stage. You guys were supposed to be ready. Where are you?
I did not know about this.
Get up here, come on. So we've got Pat Richard, Marilyn Salzman, Christy Seaborn, Susie Nelson, Angela Bassano, Kurt Keisler, Katie Rothman, Thomas Schenk, Christy Cragen, Dan and Ron Schmidt, Peter Barkman, John Wallach, and Punky Kiefer. Punky, get up here. And so these guys have done so much work this year and the past. We've been doing this, since 2002. And John Wallach, yes, okay, good, okay. So, yes, another round of applause for these guys, please. Okay, so now we still have at least a half hour, a little bit more, 45 minutes. If we go a little bit later, that's okay. I hope that's okay with the school district anyway. But anyway, we've got forestry contractors back out here. Please talk to them. You know, you can hire it if you can't get it done yourself. We just have all kinds of people here to talk to you. Open space, commissioners, fire departments, state senators and representatives, U.S. representatives, so please stick around for a little bit. I'm sure we still have some cookies back here, some water, some coffee. Stick around, please talk to everybody. And we will see you next September, and before that at the parks and El Cel this summer. Thank you so much.